Finance?
It's a different one. There's a couple ones you need to steer clear of that start with F. But anyways, to find out whether I do or do not say an F word I'm not supposed to say, stay tuned. Ooh, cliffhanger. I'm Patrick Loftus. I'm a real estate lawyer. If you buy or sell a home, I'm someone you would want to get involved to make sure things go smoothly. Find me on social media. I am active on there. On Instagram, Loftus_law. On TikTok, Loftus Law.
Outstanding. And Joey, please give us the rundown.
Yes, sir. Joey Mathews, NMLS 1330694, the VA Loan Nerd. You can find me on the social medias as at the VA Loan Nerd. You can call me or text me at 630-235. There you go.
So what's going on with the finances?
Why are you trying to mess with my day already, dude? Like, I've been talking to you for 3 minutes. You're trying to ruin my life.
What's true at all. Not true. You know I love you to death.
I can give you some. I can give you some good news.
I've been naive on everything. Are you telling me that interest rates are going up, or what's going on?
No. I mean, they're up since doo. Let's look at. Why am I looking at a 6-month chart? That's terrible.
I don't know, but while you're looking there, I was reading an article in Europe, and I was looking at rates and everything else. They're over 11%. For their mortgages.
I was new.
Yeah, well, they also aren't doing 30-year mortgages. I mean, it matters for the type of mortgage market you're looking at, so it's a little bit different.
What do you mean by that? I want to know more.
Well, I can't tell you everything about the European mortgage market, but I know they allow mortgage porting. So they do the same thing in Canada. Oftentimes, you're dealing with balloon payments, so you have to refinance every so much amount of years. They don't. It's not on a 30-year AM, so. It's just a totally different beast, right?
I love this. Do you guys want, Joey? Let me jump in here real quick. I want to play a little game here. All right. And this, we'll get back to it. But I have this chart here: real cost of homes as number of months' wages. Okay, and this is across the world. So we're talking about how many months of wages is your average home in the U.S., Canada, Mexico, Chile, all over Europe, Brazil, Russia, etc. All right. Now tell me, where do you think in terms of, so a lower number means that a house would be more affordable in the sense that less monthly wages to buy a house would be where would you suspect that the United States ranks among the countries on this list?
I'm going to guess that I don't know how many are on the list first.
I think there's about 20 here.
20? I would say we're at 15 or lower.
I love this. Okay, so.
Whoa, doesn't Joey get that?
Joey, what do you think?
No, I'm going to work off your guess. I'm good with you working off your guess.
Okay, so out of the roughly 20 on this list, you think that we rank 15. In other words, you think that there are 14 other countries where a week's wages multiplied by the number of weeks equals the average house. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So, name a country, and I'll give you the number. So name a large major country that we've all heard of.
All right, the United Kingdom.
United Kingdom, 202 average week's wages is what your average house in the UK costs.
That's 20 years roughly.
Sure.
15, 20 years.
Yeah. So you have to, be working, and all of your weekly wages would go, and you would finally own a house. Name another country.
All right, let's go with Mexico.
Mexico, 211.
All right.
211 weeks of working is what will buy you the average cost house in Mexico.
All right, now let's go to the great United States of America.
You want to know what the U.S. is? 76.
Really?
It is the most affordable of all of these. Canada, 179. Russia, 222. India, 578. Bangladesh, 684. What did I say? Oh, Turkey, 631. Spain, 132. Germany, where you just were, 185, etc. I really found this chart to be interesting, and I'll post it on my social media just so people can see what I'm talking about here. But I wanted to point that out because we all sort of live within our own bubbles, right? You know, Joey was just talking about a 30-year mortgage is a very American thing. It's a fixed rate 30-year mortgage is so American. Joey, correct me if I'm wrong. In the UK and Canada, other
You're right,
places,
that's so American.
The rates, your mortgage rate will float, right?
Yes.
Which is one of the
You mean
problems.
like an adjustable rate mortgage?
Like it floats
Like
with
a
what the prevailing
month-to-month index.
yeah.
Oh, wow.
It floats with like the prevailing rate. So if you own your home for 20 years, for example, in the UK, that doesn't lock in anything until you pay off that mortgage. It's why they seriously, if I'm not mistaken, Joey, don't they do 40, 50-year mortgages in Canada?
They do longer. Yeah, they do the longer AMs because you got because you're floating off the index, and you are oh my gosh, it's to keep the payment lower because you're on the higher rate based off of a floating index. So it's to keep the payment lower, so it's actually affordable every month.
In Japan, they have 100-year
That I know.
mortgages,
Yeah.
and you have to have an estate plan when you take out when you sign that mortgage because yes,
Somebody else has to pay.
well, people in Japan do live a long time, but I mean, by the time you are mature enough to be able to afford a mortgage, you don't have 100 years left in your life. So, anyways, I because we started talking about things that exist outside of the U.S. I meant to bring this up, and I was like, I'm going to shoehorn this right in because this is a perfect opportunity. Just so when you talk about real estate in other countries, it can be quite different.
Yeah, most definitely, it's quite different.
So USA. All right, Joey, interest rates today in the United States.
Are what? I mean, that was certainly just kind of words. Yeah. I mean, I'm still a guy who just doesn't believe they're as high as people want to believe. I think that we're finally starting to get out of that 2020, 2021, 2022 way of thinking, and people are realizing, oh yeah, this is just life happening. This is how the world works. We had some weird years, and now we're back to reality. At the end of the day, people are always going to buy houses. I closed 29 transactions last month because people are always going to buy houses. And what's obviously nice is that there will always be refinance markets. The people who bought in 2020, 2021, there will be a refinance market for you when you realize you did over leverage yourself a little bit because you maxed out on your monthly payment, and you have no way to refinance that without rolling in other debt. So you have to use that equity to pay off other debts that you have accrued since then because you were over leveraged to lower your total monthly payment nut, if you will, right? So at the end of the day, people out of the 2s and 3s into 6s, 7s, whatever, to get rid of that 23% freaking credit card debt and significant credit card debt that I've seen. So again, it's the market. It's like playing the stock market. At the end of the day, it's just you do the things that make sense at the time that it makes sense, period.
Joey, I think that's an interesting thing you brought up. So when you first mentioned that there's always a refi market, even with the great disparity in the interest rates from what people had, what they got back in 2021 and what they can get today. And I was thinking, well, sure, if you do need a little shot of liquidity, you could always take a HELOC with the idea that you're going to try to pay it off quickly or whatever, even if not. But you can still have most of that debt at that lower amount. But what I heard you say, which is interesting, is that people, if you're looking at it in a vacuum and you go, this is my mortgage payment, and you're not taking into account all of the other debt obligations they've accrued, whether it's I keep seeing these TikTok videos about people who have they've got like a gross income of $3,000 a month, and because they live at home and they think, well, all of this is just money I can spend, they go out and they buy a Hellcat, and they've got a $1,300 a month payment plus another $250 for insurance, and all of a sudden now they have no money. And after about, I don't know, 12, 14, 16 months, they realize I'd like this car, but I don't like it enough to keep doing this to myself. It's like, unfortunately or fortunately, however you want to look at it, these people's debt, their debt doesn't exist in a vacuum. It's not the only thing. And if you did run up credit card debt, because you were financing a lifestyle or you're doing all your revenge spending after COVID, and it's finally coming to bear that it's like, man, I'm paying the credit card company like $1,000 a month and I'm getting nothing out of it. You start to have to make some more difficult decisions.
I couldn't agree more.
Yeah.
But there are some things that we can predict, and it's, like one of the things I want to talk about today is, what do we think is going to happen with the new regime coming in? There's a whole new political view that's going to be running our government starting in just a few months. And, there's talk about tariffs. And again, I don't know what's true and what isn't true until it actually starts to happen. All right. Then we know that it's going to happen at that point in time. Right now, it's nothing but words. But when you start talking about 10, 20% tariffs across the board on all imports and 100% tariffs on things coming from China, and I'm hearing that, I know that just about every air conditioning system that's ever made comes from China or Mexico. Same thing with furnaces. Electricals, washer dryers, a lot of this stuff comes from there.
TVs.
The wood that we use to build house right now is pretty much coming from Canada. We import a whole bunch of stuff in our housing stock, and then if we're going to get rid of, and again, I'm not trying to rip Band-Aids or anything else like that, but there's talk about deporting, illegal immigrants and rounding them up and moving them out. And that's cheap labor. All right, so once we get rid of cheap labor, now the labor costs go up as well. And everything that I'm hearing right now, if you're thinking about getting in the game, I would get in as soon as possible. And please prove me wrong, someone.
I mean, if you need a change in housing, now would be a good time to explore that. A couple things with tariffs, and I'll give you a little bit to chew on here. I'll give you one thing. I think the knee-jerk reaction is that if you make the raw materials and the goods more expensive, obviously that's going to have inflationary pressures, and that's the first thing that people are going to realize. And you've got there are people who we know who they are, who've been talking a lot about it's temporary because it will move manufacturing back to the U.S. because people will say, well, it's actually now more economically advantageous to do that. The problem is because the reason they moved that manufacturing overseas is because it was more cost effective. Our labor here in this country is very expensive compared to a lot of places in the world where you can build stuff. There's a reason you can build stuff and then stick it on an ocean liner for a couple of months, and it's still way cheaper than building it around the corner. It's just facts. It's just how it is. If you move all that manufacturing back here, you're going to have to absorb the cost of the labor here. You're not going to be able to hire a bunch of people and pay them what they're being paid overseas. And that's assuming that they actually make the decision to move that manufacturing back here. I think it's more likely, and we saw this the last go around with tariffs, which is that they find other ways to bring the goods into the country. So if you put a massive tariff on one country, they'll move it to another country and then move it in, or they will create the parts and assemble them elsewhere. So whenever you try to put a rule in place, the first thing that people are going to do is look for a way around it, and we've already seen that they found it.
Yeah.
So it's really unlikely to have the end result that people are suggesting it will have.
Yeah, and I don't know, and that's why I want to hear from you guys. And Joey, what do you think of all this?
No, I mean, I'm no economist, like globalized economist, right? I think that the market is significantly overreacting right now. However, obviously with the lack a completely unified government, that makes a lot of economic decisions a lot easier to push through, which is a problem. It's not a good thing. because it allows for poor decisions to be put into policy. But yeah, no, tariffs are going to, that's not going to be a good thing. I mean, and the idea behind it is this MAGA idea of, well, we'll just make it ourselves, right? It'll just be less expensive because now it's made in America, and we don't have to tax. It's not how it's going to work. It's just going to rise the prices for consumers. Yeah, but
well, we
again,
are a
not a
capitalist
global
government.
economist.
Yeah, no, but we're a capitalist government, and if I make air conditioning systems, and it cost me $1,000 to make one, and the Chinese guys can make it for $700, that's pretty hard for me to compete with them, unless they bring it in here. But now if we're both selling, or let me say the Chinese now ones are selling for, $2,000 because of the tariffs that are on there, well, that means now I could sell mine for $2,000 or $2,400.
Well, they already have all of the supply chains built. I mean,
True.
The whole.
But they will change. Those supply chains will change, just like you were saying.
Well,
they're going to find a workaround.
And like I said, it already happened the last time that this was attempted. Now, I don't really know that we necessarily want all of those manufacturing jobs back.
That's interesting.
Because it's not what America's best at this point. The most efficient economies are the ones that take advantage of the resources that they have at hand, right? And
right.
One of the superpowers of America is that, I say America, I know we call ourselves America, but America is a term that's used for North America, South America, Central America, Latin America.
Whole continent. Right.
So the United States, the thing that one of the things that we have an embarrassment of is resources. So we have resources, but we also have a relatively highly educated workforce. There are things we do really, really well, and to some extent, I mean, look, do we want to rely on other countries for all of our microchips? I don't think so. That was, because there are national defense reasons why you would want to make sure that some of that manufacturing is done here. Sure, that is a valid reason for a tariff or to prop up a particular sector. And even though Taiwan does microchips the best in terms of manufacturing them, there's reasons to try to make sure that we do that here. But by and large, we're a service economy. We provide really, really good services. We do software. We do all of those things. If there are people out there who are feeling left behind by the economy, it really, we haven't done enough to bring them along into the prosperity that is being experienced by people who are trained and talented in the things that America does best. So probably that would be a better place to invest the resources that we have, rather than trying to bring manufacturing jobs back and recreate something that used to be.
Well, that all makes sense. Joey, give me your 2 cents on that.
Dude, I don't know nearly enough, but I mean, everything that Patrick is saying, it makes sense. It's stupid to say this, but like, what's the highest and best use, right? Which goes back to America doing what America's good at, and obviously, the microchips is a big thing. Obviously, I live in Arizona, right? And Intel's going out of business right now. Well, they're not going out of business, but what is it? NVIDIA? Is that who's like taking over the microchip world? Yeah,
I think so. Yeah.
They're the biggies right now.
Yeah, and that's affecting the economy down here because Intel was a huge company in the valley down here, right? I don't know. It's it's going to be an interesting few months before the inauguration itself. We see it in the market every day. P.S. The consumer price index came back this morning. I'm so out of it that I completely forgot about like big market movers.
Joe's been working hard, man.
Hardly working hard. Yeah, but it came back at what was expected, and with the amount of sell-off we've seen over the course of the last month and a half now, which is 300 basis points, which has moved rates at least now a full percent up from where they were 6 weeks ago. We saw a 40 basis point recovery just from the market staying in line. It's like people forgot about inflation during the election period, but now we're seeing just how much anxiety there is about inflation because I imagine people were expecting a higher reading. And when they saw a reading in line with expectation, they're like, "Oh crap! Let's buy the market back. Let's start buying again." So, it's going to be a very interesting few months, and then the first 6 months of the presidency is really going to tell us where we're going to be going.
That first 100 days. I do have one piece of good economic news, specifically for myself.
That is?
Since I woke up this morning, the value of my crypto has increased by $1,500.
You are giddy about that. This is the 16th time you told me.
It's literally the only thing I'm happy about right now.
Joey, I got a question from you, from your favorite firefighter and my favorite kid. Yeah, no
it's
lie.
Noel, isn't it?
Don't tell you know who. But he wants to know if he can buy a property in Mexico and have an American company service or originate the mortgage.
Yes and no, right? You would have to leverage your primary residence for the payment. Okay, you can do that through doing a cash out. You could do. I mean, how much is a property in Mexico? Do you have the equity in your current home here to do that?
So you couldn't use that as the collateral outside the.
All you're really doing is collateralizing your own property against its current value to use cash to buy the property in Mexico. But I mean, I couldn't buy you a Mexico property myself.
No,
I could not do that.
Fannie and Freddie aren't set up to evaluate the risks associated with using Mexican real estate as collateral. As we discussed earlier, different countries do things quite a bit differently. But if you took that money out of the equity of your home, what Joey's saying is you could then take that cash and buy that real estate. Interestingly enough, you actually can't own real estate in Mexico if you're not a Mexican citizen. But there's an easy workaround. You incorporate a Mexican corporation that owns the real estate.
That's easy.
Because corporations are people.
No.
Yeah! I'm just trying to trigger you, dude.
Listen,
Keep going.
You and your Citizens United can get the heck out of town.
I will say, though, that I did hear the first law that Elon Musk wants to enact, which I was actually pretty amazed. And, he wants to make it illegal to be able to point your finger and laugh at the same time at a Tesla Cybertruck.
I'm okay with that. I'm totally on board with that. Where do I sign that? I had someone do it to me a couple days ago.
Point and laugh?
Oh, for sure.
Can we talk about the warning that Joey got when he was parked at the State Farm Stadium with his truck?
Bunch of haters.
No way. I want to hear. Come on, nerd.
I came out of the stadium to a happy little big red sheet on my car that says your car has been registered with the parking people. You will not be allowed to park here anymore. Blah blah blah. It's a anti-commercial use thing, but whatever. It is what it is. I still got 3,000 loans out of it.
Haters gonna hate. Joey's gonna shake it off.
Shake it off.
I think
Joey.
if I say any more, we may get a copyright strike. So I won't.
I'll just start singing.
I won't do any more Taylor Swift there. But I did enjoy it. That was one of my where you open up Instagram and most of the time you're just like, ugh. I was actually like,
I love it.
Way better.
Not the word, but I don't know. I'm just, for me, it's always, house prices keep going up, and I get it. The mortgages fluctuate. I've been on this planet long enough to see 18% and see 2%. It's all over the board. It's going to keep going up and down. But who's going to predict it? And I don't know. For me, it's like get in, and then you could go ahead and level out when that needs to be there. If the rates start dropping, you refinance. And I kind of want to go back a little bit, Patrick, because I'm tweaked about this 75 weeks or months. What was it that you said to pay off a loan for the United States?
Oh, it was 70. So 76. Get you an average. We'll get you an average home cost wise.
All right. And then 76, what is that divided by 12? 72 is
6.
3 days, right? Or 72 hours. 6
It's
years, you said?
A little more than 6. So
6 years.
72 is divided by 12, right?
I don't
72
know
divided by 12 is
anybody
6.
that pays off a mortgage in 6 years.
No, because every single dollar of your wages would have to go to the cost of that home, that average cost home. So most people don't have that socked away in savings. And if you look at your, Joey, what does the average amortization schedule show you in terms of the amount of your payment going toward principal and the amount of your payment going toward interest, especially at the beginning?
At the beginning, you're paying way more towards interest, and then over time, you start paying more towards principal. So,
that's how they get you.
The banks want their money first. I don't blame them.
That's how they keep you. They keep you in debt. It's the man keeping you in debt. They want you to owe money. They want you to work for them. They don't want you to
This is
have
a company
any...
store all over again.
Mm-hmm.
All right, we're going back to the coal miners and owing money to the company store. Who is that, Loretta something?
Well,
Loretta Lynn,
the
right?
story that comes to mind for me is Pullman, where he was like, all right, y'all are gonna live in this town, and I'm gonna charge you. You're gonna buy all your stuff here. You're gonna rent from me, and company's not doing so good. I'm gonna dock your wages, and I'm increasing the cost of rent and all of the goods. What a guy, that George Pullman. Tell you what.
And it still goes on today. The only difference is there's a lot of opportunities for people, but you got to have a little bit of chutzpah, if that's the right word. You gotta want to do it. You got to roll the dice, and then, I don't know, when you work for somebody else, it's not your responsibility. Maybe so much. You're going to do what they ask you to do. You might try a little harder. You might not. But when you're out there for yourself, you got nobody to blame but you. And if you don't hustle for these things and make it work, then you're your own worst enemy at times. And I've seen too many businesses, quite frankly, that are just weak. And I can't believe that some of these people are trying to start a business and do something else, and they don't put any effort into, their product or their service that comes in there. I'm almost insulted, by some of these people. I am.
I thought that money was free.
It's never free. Nothing
I build
is
it,
ever
they will
free.
come. What happened to Field of Dreams? Come on.
Oh, that's right. I love that movie too.
Well, look, I mean, anyone can go out there and try it, right? And if you put enough effort into it, and the effort is directed in the right places, and but really, if you stay with it, I can't see how really any business would fail unless it's just completely ill-conceived. If you put
But they fail all the time.
If you put an ice store at the North Pole, you're probably gonna fail. So no one really is gonna probably do that. But they fail all the time.
80 to 9%, 80 to 90% fail in less than 2 years.
Oh, that's sad. Look, and let's frame it differtently. All right, let me try this. Let's try this on for size.
Try this on for size.
Well, what is a failure?
Hard words to say.
What is a failure? I think that if you talk to people who are, say, in the startup or venture capital world, they are not only seeking out failure, but they want to fail as fast as possible, because they're trying out a lot of different things to see what works. And you don't always know from the get-go that I have a dynamite idea. I mean, you look at Twitch is a great example of a company that, I mean, you know what Twitch is?
It's the video thing, isn't
right.
it?
It's the thing. It's like YouTube for it's live streaming, so it's not quite YouTube, but basically. Someone plays video games and a whole bunch of people watch, right?
Oh yeah, they were playing video games with each other, and I saw that. Yeah.
So do you know how Twitch started? Do you know what it was when it first began? It was a business called Justin.tv. Do you know what Justin.tv was? Justin.tv was a guy called Justin who was wearing cameras around and was live streaming his entire existence. It was
Truman Show.
Well, I mean, I think that's kind of where they were trying to springboard off of.
All
But
right.
as you can imagine, between the fact that when they first started, the technology wasn't quite there. I mean, this guy was like carrying around a briefcase full of gadgets just to make the thing work. It just wasn't all that interesting. And then they kind of stumbled upon. He's playing video games, and they're like, "Wow, a lot of people are watching the part where he plays video games." I'm like, you know what, we might try. And so, yeah, they springboarded, they pivoted off of we're just gonna make, we're gonna make this a reality show, live stream 24 hours a day on the internet into this streaming platform that is massive. So, what is a failure? If you have, I think, the right approach and the right attitude, a failure is one iteration toward a success. Now, does everyone stick with it and go to the next and to the next?
Well, you're talking Thomas Edison now.
Some people are so burned by the experience, they go, it's not for me. I'm going to go back to being an employee, and that's all good. That it's not for everyone. Running a business is not. It's not for most people. But as long as you still have the capital and the want to iterate and oh my goodness gracious, that is loud. I don't know what just happened to the sound there, but anyways, if you try enough things enough times, you will get there.
No, I got you, but and I think, when I said Thomas Edison, that was his big thing. I tried 999 different ways to make a light bulb, and I failed. But he goes, well, I didn't really fail. I found out 999 ways to not make a light bulb. And as soon as he found the right filament, that's what it is. And it's the same thing. I call it the spaghetti theory. All right? You throw a bunch of stuff at the wall and see what sticks. And I got a lot of spaghetti on the walls of my house. My wife gets angry at me, all right? But you know where I'm going.
All over your orange appliances.
Exactly. But everything is, I don't know what to say. Everything is kind of, not everything is going to work. Not everything I can figure out. But when you do figure it out, and now it's automatic, it's pretty cool. And everything just stays working. It is good stuff. I belong to a couple of Facebook groups. And remember, I'm the boomer. I know. Go ahead. Be the haters. All right, all you youngins.
Not at all. I get business out of Facebook. Let's go.
I'm still a hater.
But it always comes up for a home inspector. Should you advertise on Yelp? And everybody says, oh, hell no. Run away. Yelp is bad. They're crooks. They're evil. They just take your money and you never get any business. They always want to sell you more and everything else. And I'm like, I do pretty good on Yelp. We spend a lot of money on that platform, and we do have a lot of reviews on it. But they get a lot of people coming our way that are looking for our type of service. All right, and because of that, it works for us. And I go back to them, and it's like, if you can't express your value and why choose you, then that's where the real failure is. That's not Yelp's fault. That's yours. You're going after a different market. And I get it that most home inspectors, we try to build relationships with real estate agents. And Joey, you do the same thing, and Patrick, you as well. The real estate agents are the first people to build a relationship with the home buyer or home seller. And, then they're going to trust the real estate agent to whomever they refer to. And that still happens today. 80% of the referrals come from the real estate agent community. But if you're going to go direct to consumer, then you got to give a reason, and that's where, and both of you correct me if I'm wrong here, but I think it's Zig Ziglar, the why, right? Is he the one with the why? Why do you do what you do?
I don't remember.
What's your why, right?
Well, I would also say, Charlie, that there's a good reason that you're getting that kind of feedback from building inspectors. Correct me if I'm wrong, but by and large, building inspectors are they're basically solo operations. They're
the vast majority.
Yeah, so they're freelancers, and the scale of their business is going to be such that they will fail. If they try to compete with you on Yelp, you're gonna get crushed because the amount of ad spend that you can deploy, even though like you would probably say it's not even that much, it's that much to them. And I would say, from
You're right. It's all relative.
From my own perspective, I would have to spend so much on SEO and other things in order to rank, for example, for the keyword Chicago real estate lawyer. I don't have the resources to compete with the law firms that can rank for Chicago real estate lawyer. So I've got to find other ways, because
You just got to put that's all. Patrick the Hammer.
I can't. I don't own that IP, and that was
the
Charlie.
real estate hammer.
That was Charlie that said that. That was
that.
not me. I hate everything about that, to be honest with you. And you got really close to me saying the F word. So yeah, if you've been listening since the beginning, we almost got it.
On my screen. I love it.
A real estate hammer at your service.
I've got, I don't criticize other lawyers, because there's more. I don't criticize other lawyers because
because they'll sue you. That's why.
Well, that's a good reason not to criticize someone, although that seems a little bit,
But
anyways.
you know what? I want to take all that back, because I don't give free legal advice. All right.
You shouldn't give any legal advice. You're not qualified. But
That's why I don't do it.
so there's more than one way to skin that cat. And if someone chooses a nice marketing package from a company that wants to sell them on billboards and being on the side of buses and different things, great. Do you? One of my favorite, quick story, one of my favorites is a friend of mine, his dad is a pretty well-respected personal injury lawyer here in the city. And one of his grandkids, you drive down any highway, you see, tons of different personal injury lawyers advertising on billboards. And his granddaughter asks him, Grandpa, why don't I ever see you on a billboard? And he says, I don't have to put my face on a billboard, because that's the kind of respect that he has in the PI world. But different strokes for different folks.
And I guess maybe he's not as egotistical as I am, because not only do I want to put my picture up on that billboard in the worst way, I even put my name on little AI Charlie. I'm loving it.
Joey, you've got to
You got to make fun of me, Joey.
At breakfast, we didn't even have a conversation, because as soon as I mentioned he should have an avatar for Charlie AI, all he could do was get on ChatGPT and come up with different iterations of what Charlie AI should look like.
I was like Speedy Gonzalez.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so
Make
you're gonna have
him-
to explain that reference for our younger consumers here.
What?
AI?
Charlie AI?
Speedy Gonzalez.
Oh, Speedy.
Oh my God! I don't know if that's Warner
Yeah.
Brothers or Hanna-Barbera. I think it's Hanna-Barbera. I'm not sure.
I can't. I'm waiting for Charlie to do his catchphrase.
I was about to say
Because
that.
it's
He's
absolutely
going to
going
the
to.
studio today, baby.
It is gonna sound
Bing, bing,
racist.
bing.
It is.
Oh,
There's
Jesus,
no
I almost
way it's
swore on
not
air.
gonna.
I love it.
It's like when my wife and I dressed up for Halloween. We went to the zoo. She was Shrek and I was Donkey. And I said, I'm not going to try to sound like Donkey, because it is only going to come out racist coming out of my mouth.
That's true.
So, I would never try to do a Speedy Gonzalez, because it's just, my mouth and those words we're not meant to be together.
I've been getting a whole lot of Mel Blanc videos on YouTube that I've been watching, and that was the voice. He's passed away now, but that was the voice of Bugs Bunny, Foghorn Leghorn, Porky the Pig.
Elmer Fudd.
Elmer, yeah,
did
he had
all of
a
them.
Daffy Duck. He had a whole bunch of those things that were on there. He was a pretty amazing person, and I'm a big fan of old time radio with Jack Benny.
Good
so
Lord.
even
What are we talking about?
we're going back to World War II and just post World War II. That's when radio was big, before television came around.
Back
And
in
no, I wasn't born then.
back in the good old days is what you're saying?
I don't know. I live a pretty good life. So I'm pretty lucky right now. So I can't say that my days are bad or anything else like that. We got a pretty good gig going.
Dad, I don't know any of those really old time radio references, but when I was a kid, it was like Murphy in the Morning, and then later on it was
Murphy in the Morning. Is that with Jim Shorts?
I was like 11.
Show's over. No, that was the afternoon because his thing was show's over at 2:30. So they made everybody get to the point. Murphy in the Morning. I'm going with Jonathan Brandmeier, and I don't know. I guess I'm talking about another radio station. I'm so sorry, WCPT.
Those guys are either retired or dead.
Dead. I inspected Jonathan Brandmeier's house personally. So,
well, he wasn't even asked to do it. That's the weird thing.
I broke in. I broke in.
Just shows up in his truck.
In his van, windowless white van.
But it was weird because he had his radio studio that he had in there, his recording studio in his house, was probably about 4 times as big as the studio we're in right now.
That would be cool to have something like that in my house. It would be cool until it was time to sell the house and, trying to convince people that it increases the value of the house. And they're like, yeah, for you specifically and only you.
Yeah. Savard had an indoor ice rink in his house.
Oh, now we're talking.
Devin Hester, he lived up north here. I got to be in his house. He had and I want to say probably about a 20, maybe 30-yard football field down in his basement, all turfed and marked out and everything else.
That'd be cool.
It was actually pretty cool, and me being such a sports fan, I get all nerded out on that stuff. So.
Yeah, and for the next owner, you just rip it out and put something in that isn't going to soak up all the water that inevitably goes in every basement.
Yeah, and then maybe they'll put some orange appliances in there and really make their house look nice.
I mean, if they got that kind of money,
Oh, man, that sounds so
They got orange appliance money.
It's not a bad thing to have. All right?
I think it's a great look.
You've been in my house, haven't you, Joey?
I have been in your house, yes, sir. I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah, I like my orange stove and orange refrigerator. And Drew Barrymore has the same ones, but hers are yellow. That much I know.
Man, name dropping Drew Barrymore.
Yeah, I'm name dropping all day long here. I'm friends with Joey Mathews, the VA loan nerd. All right, who can't park his car at the stadiums anymore.
It's been banned.
But don't worry, it's going to be illegal to laugh at that. So that's all a good thing.
Oh yeah, I'm sure the State Farm Stadium is going to have to rescind that ban after the inauguration.
I did get the State Farm, and I don't think this is too much bashing on them. But I mean, the whole insurance thing is really getting out of hand too, and it's kind of another subject that I wanted to touch base on. I had a client call me complaining that State Farm was dropping their policy after 30 days. What they did was go on Google Maps or the satellite thing that they look at. They viewed the top of the house, and you could just see obviously from the satellite pictures that the flat roof had a lot of ponding that was happening on it. You could see all the stains on there. And we did the inspection and we commented on it, but when we did the inspection, we were there less than 24 hours after we had a heavy downpour and there was no water ponding on it. So granted they had ponding, they ended up fixing the issue so it wasn't ponding anymore. And and we marked it just to identify it. We put it in our report, and we put it as a blue because we didn't think it was a problem. Client called upset that we didn't make an issue out of it. And I'm like, well, it's not an issue. He goes, well, they're canceling my insurance. I said, well, they're canceling your insurance because they think it's an issue. Let's get this all straightened out, and we'll write a letter and see what they say. So I am waiting to hear back from them, but I am hearing more and more people, and I just had another Zoom call I did with a client yesterday, and I kind of gave him a heads up. Now they're going with, and Joey, I need your help on this. What's one of the insurance companies that's mostly for military? I think it's Air Force.
USAA.
USAA. Thank you. So they're going. What's that?
Sorry, I just.
He's doing the jingle.
Did you just get all excited and aroused right there? Or?
Yeah,
Calm down.
That's okay.
Calm down.
Yeah, no. I get you. You got a big passion for helping the VAs and stuff like that. So that's who they're going with their insurances. So I don't know.
Midnight to 6 real quick.
Say that again.
Midnight to 6 real quick. That's what I said. And bleep it. Do whatever you want with it.
I don't know what that means. All right,
Yeah.
midnight to
We'll
6.
talk later.
All right, I'm trying to think if that's bad or good. I really don't
It's
know.
terrible.
It
I hate
sounds like it's
USA.
bad.
Gotcha. But that's who they're going with, and I try to give them a heads up that you got ponding, you're holding water on this flat roof here. Depending on the insurance companies, but I don't know. Am I raising a red flag on this stuff? Should I tell people that? Because I really don't like those phone calls when somebody, tells me that their insurance is getting canceled after 30 days.
I just Googled midnight to 6. We probably do have to bleep that.
Uh-oh.
There we go.
Well, now we got to bleep it again.
Yeah, I know.
Okay.
Yeah, we do it a few times.
We got.
Sorry, Devin.
We have an extra minute on the show now because of all the bleeping that's going to be necessary.
Oh my goodness! All right, I'm afraid to get there. Let's change the
Man,
subject
the
because
insurance game is crazy because look, they've got to make up for all of the claims they've got to pay, right? And
Yeah.
so with all of the damage that has been happening due to weather events, these are for-profit businesses, right? And you say, well, stop putting your name on the stadium in Arizona. Stop putting your name on the basketball arena at U of I. And it's like, that's a different budget. That's the marketing budget, and it's probably a net positive at the end of the day for them to have those naming agreements. But here's another one.
But that's all about branding and getting the name recognized.
So let me tie this in. Watch this.
Oh boy, here comes the weave. I am trying to trigger him. I want to get that F-bomb out there.
You were close. Look, tariffs, increasing the cost of building materials like Canadian lumber. What's that going to do? If insurance claims continue to be made at the pace that they're being made at, those claims go to pay for repairs to a home. If the building materials for repairs to a home go up by 20%, whatever the number is, guess what that's going to do to your insurance rates, right? The insurance, they can only react to what the cost of the claims are. Cost of the claims is the costs of the claims are. And so, just another place where that could have some really unforeseen, well, I foresaw it now, but a lot of people aren't going to be noticing or realizing that, why is my home insurance going up by 20%? Well, and it's not going to happen right away, right? It's, they will be able to try to forecast that. That's what an actuary does. But when things actually happen, then they will also, it will reverberate in the future because they will also be reacting to things that have happened. So, things are going to be more expensive if the promises are kept by the candidate that won the election.
And it's also the area too. I mean, for me, my homeowners only, all right, not including the car. We got all that stuff bundled together, as they say. We're a little over $1,000 a year, which I don't think is too bad. All right. But then I talked to my friends in Florida, and they're like, yeah, we're over $1,000 a month, where it comes to that stuff.
Yeah, I think my sister pays like $6,000 a year, and they're in South Florida. And think about that. Think about if your monthly housing cost, think if you had to absorb all of that additional cost just to maintain the home you're in. It is why you are seeing people having to give up on the dream of retiring to Florida, because the fixed income that they thought they could live on is being wiped out by the increasing costs. And
that's why we're going to retire in Mexico, where life is good and grass is green all year round.
I'm going to Guatemala.
It's funny looking grass, but yeah, they got grass.
My money goes farther in Guatemala.
I'm going to Croatia. There's that.
Croatia. I like Croatia a lot. I don't know that I want to retire there, but part of the problem, Joey, with retiring to Croatia is going to be that they're 7 hours ahead, And so, you're gonna have like a 3-hour window to talk to your grandkids. It's gonna be annoying. You're not gonna want to do that.
Now they're gonna live in Croatia.
Well, all right.
Oh man,
Sure.
Let's go.
Like I said, had a great time in Croatia. I can tell you about it just now on the radio.
I love it. I can tell you the countryside of, Austria. And did you know they don't have any kangaroos in Austria? It's like, what the heck is going on about this?
I'm out.
But I will tell you,
Wow.
they have a whole government department. Now, this part is true. And this is why I said it, because it actually cracked me up. I wanted to buy the T-shirt that said there are no kangaroos in Austria. But they have one government department that's geared just to answer complaints about people not seeing any kangaroos in Austria.
Man, that sounds like a really fun place to work, or an infuriating place to work.
I would have pre-recorded messages, that's for sure.
That seems like one of the first jobs AI is going to take over.
Yeah? That's
Why
for sure.
didn't I see kangaroos? Because you're an idiot.
ID 10T. That's another one of my favorite sayings right there. A little bit of code word.
Google that one too. Probably have to bleep it.
Idiot. ID, then 10T. 10 is I-O again, and T. No, I'm not calling you that.
It's not as good as midnight to say.
I know where you're about to go. Let's not go back into bleeps here.
Oh, you guys are killing me. All right, we do have to start wrapping it up. We got a couple of minutes. I want to take the lead because I want to give a little plug for something that I created. And it's called AI Charlie. And basically what I'm trying to do, and it's free for anybody that wants to use it. You can go to our website at the Home Inspectors, that's plural, ORS, and it's a .com, and you could see AI Charlie in there. But that is programmed with all of our code books, training books, a few articles and things that I put together, and it also has all our business stuff in there. If you got a problem with your house and you want to just run it through what the home inspectors are supposed to be thinking about, and this thing is going to remember more things that I forgot, all right, that comes in there, then run it through it. And if that doesn't work and you can't get the answer from there, you're going to have a way to go ahead and get hold of me through there. So, and again, my name is Charlie. Our phone number is 312-544-9180, 312-544-9180, and it's thehomeinspectors.com. And Patrick, please.
Well, I guess we just found out the second job that's going to be taken over by AI. So that's, we're learning things here today.
Nobody likes you. You know that, right?
I yearn for the day that our AI overlords take on my job so that I can
Skynet.
do something else or just get plugged into the matrix and, on that wonderfully cheery note, find me on social media. Yeah, you thought. Instagram, Loftus_law. On TikTok, Loftus Law. I'm a real estate lawyer. Hire me to make your transaction go smoothly.
And Joey, you got the last word.
Joey Mathews, the VA loan nerd. The VA loan is the best loan on the market, so accept that offer today. Anyway, you can find me at thevaloannerd.com across all the social medias as at the VA loan. And yay, last word. There it is.
Thank you so much. And thank you guys for listening. Again, my name is Charlie, and special thank you to